to see. Yeah, we'll have to try to
Declassified.
figure out a yeah.
See, as president, I could have declassified
Yeah.
it. Now I can't, but this is
Yeah,
classified.
now we have a problem.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
It's so cool. I mean, it's so, we here I have, and you probably almost didn't believe me, but now you believe me.
No, I believe
It's
you.
incredible, right?
No,
Hey, bring
they
some
never
Cokes in,
reported one.
please.
And that was just part of a leaked audio conversation between former President Trump and an unnamed journalist obtained by CNN. The conversation, allegedly taking place in August 2021, features Trump showing off a classified military plan of attack against Iran to guess at his Bedminster, New Jersey estate. Could this be a smoking gun in the special counsel Jack Smith's case? Or is it a sign of something else? Let's bring in Arizona Congressman and also the committee member on the House Oversight and Accountability Committee. Really great to have him here, Congressman Andy Biggs. Congressman, before we even get to the recording, there's some new news that essentially the special counsel Jack Smith is also looking into more charges potentially coming, that he's looking at sort of a second wave of charges, even tied to the classified documents against President Trump, even as much as 45 new counts. Your reaction to that?
Well, that's pretty typical of what we've seen from Jack Smith, but some of the other folks coming out of DOJ. The left is bound and determined that they want to stop President Trump and his quest for re-election. But more than that, they really are sincere that they want to put him in prison for the rest of his life. It's a dangerous thing to see. When you have the weaponization of the DOJ, and in this case, a special counsel who's going to look into trying to prosecute and actually imprison a political opponent. That's unusual. It's unheard of in the United States. It's unusual in many places, but it is totally unheard of here. And I think he's sincere in trying to go after Trump because of political purposes.
Yeah, and it seems like every which way but loose. What do you make of also the recording? It is really stunning that this recording, this is part of the special counsel's investigation. It's supposed to be private. Of course, for his part, former President Trump is adamantly denying anything, that he did anything wrong. What should the legal ramifications be for Jack Smith or his team if it's found that they leaked this tape? And how do you view the audio tape when you hear it?
Well, first of all, if it's coming from the prosecution, they should be sanctioned. They should be taken before the Bar Association because that's a violation of their ethical duty. Beyond that, though, the recording itself, I got 2 points on this. First of all, I would say I have seen the left take recordings, documents, and absolutely misconstrue them, take them out of context, cherry pick them. So I think of this original Zelensky-Trump call that they impeached him over. I think of additional where Adam Schiff goes to the floor and actually deliberately changes context and wording in a text to try to bring ethical claims and perjury type claims against a member of Congress. This is not unusual for the left. And then I tell you too, Rita, the thing that really, I suppose, really gets at me as well is when it was Bill Clinton who was being questioned about his keeping of documents in his sock drawer, an audio recording, the court, Amy Berman Jackson, said, look, it's up to the president to be able to take whatever they want. And it's almost, she said, you cannot go back and second guess or review what a president decides to take out of the Oval Office with him because they have the authority to declassify anything. That seems to me a pretty strong defense for Donald Trump.
Yeah, the sock defense, and you can make the case, you look at Hillary Clinton as well, the Sandy Berger case. Also, I mean, I think there's a lot of things that they can bring in clearly in their defense on the Trump side. I want to switch gears real quick, also, Congressman Biggs, about the Hunter Biden case, where it doesn't seem like there have been any leaks. IRS whistleblower Gary Shapley now broke his silence this past week. He is revealing the extent to which he says that the Biden DOJ interfered in his team's investigation almost at every level. It's really stunning. Take a look.
Shapley, who is still working for the IRS, told us that even before President Biden took office, he was directed to avoid leads involving Hunter's father.
There were certain investigative steps that we weren't allowed to take that could have led us to President Biden.
And you wanted to take them?
We needed to take them.
And you weren't allowed to take them?
That's correct.
Not allowed to take them. He also talks about basically the Hunter Biden side being tipped off, he alleges, like of searches of storage rooms. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things here that just seem so unseemly. And of course, we know that many members of many committees are going to be pulling them in, hopefully Hunter Biden, but also many of these other folks to see if they can corroborate this. Where do you think this is going to go? And if ultimately it comes out to be true what Shapley just said, should the Attorney General face impeachment? Because he said he's been hands off.
Yeah. Well, the evidence seems to be pretty clear in this case that the DOJ under Merrick Garland was not hands off. They were going after him. So I think he should be impeached if this turns out to be true. And it's pretty damning stuff right now that we're seeing and looks to be true. I mean, when you start talking about suppressing search warrants, tipping off the attorneys and the target of your investigation so they can hide evidence, you got a major problem when you have people who are not able to go forward with their investigation. They're being constrained at every level. That is not the United States of America. That's a banana republic protecting an authoritarian type of regime. And in this instance, it's even before he's in there. And it's to protect him because of political purposes. Again, that's weaponization.
You know, I want to ask you also, because President Trump firmly believes that it's been weaponization at every level. He's speaking out. How do you see this going? And how do you see the battles going between everything that's happening on the Hunter Biden side, the double standards, if you will, and then the way that President Trump has been treated? By the way, he just spoke also recently at the Moms for Liberty convention. And I want to play that and get your reaction on all of this, because it sure looks like two different standards of justice in America.
Can you imagine, with all of the millions and millions of dollars paid to the Biden family, so dishonest, no question about it, corporations set up silently, quietly, millions and millions of dollars pouring in from China, from Ukraine, from many other countries, and the press doesn't even want to write about it. What do you think would happen if that were me? Do you think they'd be writing a little bit?
Your reaction to all of that?
Well, President Trump's right. It's a disparate treatment, and you know, the money did flow into the Biden family from China, Ukraine, Romania, several other countries we haven't even disclosed yet that we have documentation on. But the reality is the media on the left is not even covering this. It's a travesty. But the bigger travesty to me is it basically erodes further the trust of Americans into the institutions of this country, which are supposed to protect our rights, not abuse them for political purposes. And that's what's happening here. And I'll tell you, Rita, as we look at, we have an opportunity to look at different records and listen to people who are coming in to testify. I am so convinced that this leads right into Joe Biden. And it gets back to what we were talking about just a second ago with the whistleblower. They were not allowed to pursue their connection to Joe Biden. And this is the biggest corruption scandal, political corruption scandal in the history of this country. And people who were supposed to investigate it were thwarted from investigating it, which is part of the scandal. And the disparate treatment, the utter disparate treatment where they're going after President Trump, and they went after his family. If you remember, they investigated family members trying to prove that they had committed some kind of corruption. There was nothing ever found. But here we have mounds and mounds of evidence, and the media doesn't say it, and that means we have half of our country, perhaps, that don't even know about the corruption of the Biden crime family.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting point because look what happened even in the lead up to the Hunter Biden laptop, how many people weren't aware of that either. That's why Congress needs to get to the bottom of it and get some answers so the American public knows the truth.